Why do you need to update your estate plan when you move to North Carolina? Hey there, my name is Ron Payne. I'm an estate planning and probate attorney here in Kernersville, North Carolina in the Piedmont Triad. And today I wanted to talk to you about why it's so important when you move to North Carolina, why you need to update your estate plan. Well, first off, and kind of obviously maybe, every state has slightly different laws. Now, most states' laws on how your property passes are the same, but for example, in North Carolina, if you're married, your spouse does not automatically inherit everything you own. So, if you've got children, then your spouse is going to split upon your death everything you own unless you've got a will in place. So you could leave everything to your spouse or to your spouse and your parents if you want, but otherwise the law assumes that maybe that's not what you intend and they split your property upon your death between your spouse and kids. The reality is that in a lot of cases, if your children are little, you probably don't want them to inherit everything while they're young, and that would be a better use for your spouse to be the one to inherit everything. But that's not the default, so it's important to have that new will in place, especially if your other state laws were a little bit different. Secondly, one of the things you might want to consider is real estate ownership. Every state's laws are a little bit different about how real estate is handled, and while generally a will that is valid in one state is going to be valid in another, the implications of what might happen based on where the real estate is located and tax consequences and that sort of thing can be different from state to state. So it's important to not just consider the effect of the law on inheritance, but also the laws about real estate and who can own what and that sort of thing. And for example, like homestead exemptions. Every state has a different size homestead exemption. Florida's and North Carolina's are vastly different. And so being able to account for that is something that would be important for you to reconsider as you move into North Carolina. Next, and obviously, is tax laws. Tax laws are very different from state to state. While North Carolina does not currently have a state estate tax, your previous state might have. So if you've moved here from an estate where they do have an estate tax based on the size of your estate, federal exemption is $12.6 million plus or minus per person, and then $24 million and change for a married couple, then so maybe as a practical matter for most of us that does not apply. But if your state had one and you have that old state will and it's being probated according to the laws of that state, then you may be subject to a state tax. North Carolina does not. So it would be a great time to update your estate plan. Additionally, income tax considerations. If most of your beneficiaries, if you relocate to North Carolina and your children are relocating with you, then there might be differences on income tax in the state that would make it more sense to make sure that your estate plan is updated here on North Carolina. Well, estate planning is not just about wills. It's also about powers of attorney and healthcare powers of attorney. If your documents are from out of state, the North Carolina hospital providers are trained on what a North Carolina living will, what a North Carolina financial power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney, they know what those look like. And if yours is out of state, they may not understand the way those provisions were written, and therefore they would need to consult with the legal department at the hospital or at the bank or wherever to make sure that your power of attorney is valid, because it's just not something they're familiar with. It doesn't mean they wouldn't honor it, but if you're in the hospital, if something were to happen, that your wishes are followed. So making sure your documents are updated is very important. Further, a lot of times when families relocate, it's because of a change in family dynamics. Maybe you're moving to North Carolina to be closer to a loved one. Maybe you're moving down for a job or an educational opportunity, or maybe you've grown your family and you've decided that North Carolina is a great place for you and your family to raise your kids. Well, that's so true, and I love raising my kids here in North Carolina, but that'd be a great time to update your estate plan. You've had these major changes in your life. You've had a new job. You've got a new place. You've got a new home. What a great time to update your estate plan. Furthermore, if you have a will from out of state and you designated somebody who lived in Connecticut with you before you moved to North Carolina, if something should happen to you in your will, you said, I want my best friend Johnny to be my kid's guardian if something happens to both my spouse and I. Well, now you're in North Carolina and Johnny's still in Connecticut, so maybe them being your children's guardian, if something should happen to you, is not ideal, because at that point it would mean the kids have to move back to Connecticut, which right after you move, they had to move back okay, fine. But if you've been here 3, 4, 5 years and the kids are established in school here and their friends are here, that would make already a traumatic situation if you're talking about losing both parents to have to relocate, and maybe their old friends are there, maybe they're not, maybe they've moved on, etc. And it would just make extra trauma. So updating your will to make sure that who your current power of attorney is, make sure who your current healthcare power of attorney is, make sure who the guardian of your children is, are all updated. Relocating to North Carolina provides a great opportunity to update and revise your estate plan. Maybe everything's great, maybe it does need to be updated, but having a free consultation here with the team at Payne Law is a great way just to make sure that everything is in shipshape. If you don't need one, we're not going to sell you an estate plan. It's our job to make sure you're protected and to give you good legal advice. So I hope this has been helpful. If you'd like to set up a team, you're certainly welcome to reach out to us for a no pressure, no cost, free consultation for estate planning. You can reach us on the web at applepaynelaw.com or via telephone at 336-281-6928. Of course, if you just want to check out more information, helpful tips here on our YouTube channel or on Facebook, like and subscribe for more of those free tips and to catch our next video when it comes out. Until next time, take care, stay safe, welcome to North Carolina, and have a great day.